Very good.
I don't think we've had that before. My tale of woe takes us back to 2003. Guilt prevents me from divulging the location, so let's just say it's a large town in East Anglia. Back then it wasn't the centre of culture and sophistication that it is now. Rather, the docks area, after dark, was the domain of boy racers in pink Vauxhall Novas, fitted with spinning hubcaps and exhaust pipes so huge a small child could climb inside, but obviously shouldn't.
No.
However, in the spirit of adventure, we decided one night that we would visit the east side of this town to shoot some pool. However, disaster struck when, on attending the generic nationwide pool hall, it was shut for renovation. Dejected, we started the trudge back to the car, when there in front of us, like a mirage shining across the desert, was our salvation, an independent pool club we'd never seen before. True, it was grubbier and more dimly lit than we were used to, and the sign was hanging off at an awkward angle. But how bad could it be? We paid our money to the man behind the grill and walked in. Like a 1930s Western, a definite hush descended as we walked in. This place wasn't used to outsiders, particularly four young skinny men fresh out of university. The room was small, and around the ground floor were 6 pool tables with a jukebox in the middle, very important for this story. The room was thick with smoke, and the beer, which was being sold in 2-pint glasses,
Wow.
well, there's the clue, I think, had been copiously imbibed. The clientele were edgy. Tattoos covering most visible skin and bushy beards down to the waist. And that was just the women, says Steve.
Dear.
Hey, it's the old days.
Not forgiven.
Avoiding all eye contact, we sidled over to the empty table in the corner of the room. Heavy metal music was blaring out of the speakers, but these looked like decent people, and we nodded our hellos and settled in. An hour later, with the others taking a bathroom break, I found myself alone at the table. Wandering over to the centre of the room, I perused the jukebox. 50p for one song, or £1 for 5. Well, that was a no-brainer, so I put my pound in. However, this was unlike any other jukebox at the time. This was the early millennium. It went without saying that it would be loaded with Oasis, Coldplay and Kaiser Chiefs. But not this one. A cornucopia of hard rock and heavy metal, and I was floundering to find a song I knew. But there, at the end, sticking out like a sore thumb, was one of the greatest tunes of the last 5 years, Oops, I Did It Again, by Britney Spears.
Okay.
Through my slightly drunken haze, I knew the clientele wouldn't appreciate the song, but just once wouldn't hurt. I could then select 4 random Slayer songs, and no one would notice. So I typed in the number, pressed select, and, well, nothing happened. So I pressed it again, and again. On the 5th time, the lights went out. I raised my eyebrows to the hairy biker behind me. I don't think it's working, mate, I said, but somewhere deep in my mind, something should have been nagging. I pressed select 5 times, and then my choices had finished and vanished. I got back to the table where my mates were racking up, and we carried on playing and drinking. The atmosphere was relaxed, the metal was even heavier, and we were having fun. I'd forgotten all about the jukebox when out of nowhere, doof, doof, oh yeah! And a thrill passed through me. My secret illicit song was being played after all. The jukebox had come good. A ripple passed over the room. This wasn't the allowed music. Would we be suspected? Probably, but they couldn't prove anything. It was only a few minutes, and then the heavy metal would be back and everything would be fine. The song finished, a few head strokes and a few head shakes, and then heads went back down to take the next shot. But catastrophe. Doof, doof. Oh, yeah! The song had registered twice. This was now unacceptable. Cues were thrown down onto tables. People started looking around. Miraculously, no one had approached us yet. For 3 minutes, no pool was played, but it was rapidly dawning on me. Not only did we have another 3 excruciating renditions to get through, but when the song after came on, the guy in the queue behind me would know that it was me. I started encouraging my mates to drink up. It was getting late. We had work in the morning, but they were having none of it. We'd paid our money, and we still had an hour left. The song finished, but this time the heads didn't go down. This time, no time for pool. The culprit needed to be found. Everyone was on edge. You could cut the tension with a knife. The silence between songs lasted a lifetime, but with terrifying inevitability, doof, doof. Oh, yeah! In a never-to-be-repeated act of precision, a full beer bottle flew over the balcony from upstairs and landed upright and fully intact in one of the pockets of our pool table, spraying everyone with warm beer. We grabbed our coats and legged it. I dread to think what happened when the song came on for the 4th and the 5th time, but we were not there to see it. However, I didn't need to wonder for long. The next evening, after a hard day's work, I settled down for tea in front of the local news on television, and there it was, a riot in the streets down by the docks. People got out of cars to join in. Apparently, it may have been starting in the pool hall, but no one seems sure.
No.
What triggered it? The reporter was asked. Nobody knows. Well, I knew. I was responsible for East Anglia's first and most likely only Britney Spears-inspired full-scale riot. So I wish to ask forgiveness from those poor, honest people who just wanted to play some pool whilst listening to some ballads by the Twisted Kitten Stranglers or whoever it was.
The Twisted
Come on, you're a big fan.
Yes. Yeah.
The Twisted Kitten Stranglers, or whatever it was that was playing. I asked for forgiveness from the passing motorists who just wanted to drive their Toyota Supras with quadruple decker spoilers in peace. The riot was caused by me and my friends as we put on 5 copies of Britney Spears. Anyways, tonight's confession comes from Steve. Let's check in with the studio verdict, Sister Susie from the pub.
Well, Steve, do you know what? I quite like Britney Spears. I'd happily listen to it 5 times in a row. So I'm going to forgive you because I feel like with all those eyes staring on you, it must have been awful. So you don't need forgiveness, but I'll forgive you anyway.
Okay, checking in now with Brother Matthew.
I mean, the point should be made. If you don't want to listen to Kylie, don't have it on your jukebox. Don't have it as an option. You just
Britney
and Kylie, both very excellent friends in pop. Yes, but lovely. And you know, what's wrong with a bit of Slayer? Maybe could have picked a bit of Slayer as option number 4.
Yes,
but he didn't realise how a jukebox works, which seems to me to think that Steve is not the brightest tool in the box. But I'm going to forgive because you know, if they don't want to listen to Kylie stroke Britney, then they shouldn't have her on the jukebox.
That's true. So it's actually the club's fault.
It's the club's fault.